Good morning. I'm Patrick Duffy, and I'm very excited to be back in the Nasdaq studios overlooking Times Square here in New York City. Today, we continue our Future Thinker series exploring how agents of change, disruptors, and leaders in the design industry will shape tomorrow. Today, I'm joined by UK-based fashion designer who has gained the support of industry heavyweights like British Fashion Council, Swarovski, Burberry, and pioneering sustainability editor for Vogue Australia, Clare Press, and even the Queen of Fashion herself, Anna Wintour, who nominated him for the prestigious Stella McCartney Today for Tomorrow award. With sustainability at the core of his practice, his goal is to reinvent luxury through a sustainable mindset and show the fashion industry that you can look good, feel good, and do good at the same time. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Patrick McDowell to New York City and to Nasdaq. Patrick, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a little chilly here in New York City, though, huh?
It is, but we've got our jumpers on. We're going to be fine.
You've got your jumpers on, we're going to be fine. So tell us, you're from Liverpool. How does someone from Liverpool go to London to conquer the big city to tackle the fashion industry?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved creating things, and I love fashion from a very young age, and was the benefit of great teachers, Ali McWatt from my high school, and a great mom who just pushed me to do whatever I loved. And the consequence of that was becoming a designer at 13 and creating things ever since. And you know, the natural progression was to go to the best design school in the world, and I said I wanted to get there, and then by the age of 18 I was in.
And that was Central St. Martin's?
Central St. Martin's in London, yeah.
And and you have a very special focus, which is sustainability, which is amazing. We'll talk about that in a bit, but how did you get your start with focusing on sustainability and on that journey?
So after I graduated from Central St. Martin's, I was very lucky to be given a show at Helsinki Fashion Week through Clare Press, the editor of sustainability at Australian Vogue. And that really was a great platform and opportunity to show at the best sustainable fashion week in the world, and an opportunity to put together my first solo show out of education. And that platform really propelled me into fashion world, and consequently the Anna Wintour thing has happened, and all these amazing opportunities.
What happened with Anna Wintour? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was nominated by Anna Wintour for a Stella McCartney Award for Eco Changemakers called Today for Tomorrow.
Amazing.
And it was such a huge honor and privilege.
Was that an unexpected thing, or
Completely.
did you just call Anna and say, hey?
I
or
had no idea it was going to happen. I met her at London Fashion Week in September for about 3 minutes with Sarah Mower. And a few months later, I was just sent a video on Instagram by one of my friends, and there she was.
There she was. And so she nominated you because sustainability is one of your focuses.
She did, and because, you know, I focus on education and sustainability, and it's about that whole package of giving back to the planet and not taking from the planet. And I think she's recognized that it's also done in a way that's fashion forward, which of course, you know, for me, the least sustainable thing to do is to create something no one wants to wear. So
how do you incorporate sustainability into designs? You do upcycling and recycling, and what does that mean? Because especially in the luxury space, which is what your focus is.
Yeah, so I reclaim fabrics and crystals from people like Burberry and Swarovski, and my last show, which was based on the Fire Brigade, was using fabrics from the British mill that makes all the Fire Brigade fabric. And it's about finding these beautiful things that have been discarded by the industry as it is today, and reclaiming them, making them into something really incredible, and working with ethical yarns like this jumper from Wool and the Gang, and just breathing new life into these amazing fabrics which have sadly been cast aside.
So do you think when you're doing your design, let's talk about the design process, are you thinking about sustainability first or design first, and how does that work?
Yeah, for me it's always design led, so sustainability is integrated at every point of my business model, but as a designer trained at Central St. Martin's, the concept is everything, but I also think that's a sustainable way of working because I base it all on my family, and it's all very personal. So I'm not taking from anyone else, I'm taking from my family and my history and creating clothes based on that. So it's a super personal, sustainable experience because it's all from concept to fabric to product to sale. It's all done in a very kind of different way to the way the industry works at the moment.
Yeah, so you talk a lot about using waste as a resource and revaluing that.
Yeah.
And as we know, textile waste in the fashion industry is a massive issue right now, whether it's pre-consumer in the design stage or post-consumer. So how do you explain, how can a design team or how can a brand you know, Nike or H&M, like how can they reinvent their waste? Like what would
Yeah.
you do if H&M called you tomorrow and said, we have 4 million pounds of
Yeah.
t-shirts, what could you do with
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I think the key there is the £4 million. This is a huge amount
Let's talk
of
about that.
money.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a huge amount of
Money, yes.
and finances that you're losing through having a very linear economy in your business model. So the ability to pull all of that stuff back into the business, redesign it, re-educate your supply chain, go to your factories, teach people how to take apart the 4 million Nike trainers that didn't sell, put them back together in a different way or use them for something else, is a way to reclaim that money that you would have lost.
So basically what you're saying is they're not just sitting on a pile of waste, they're sitting on a pile of money.
Exactly.
So they can recreate it and revalue that with someone like you.
Of course, and a circular economy just pulls all that waste back into the start of your supply chain again, and there's a huge potential there to make a lot more money in your business, which, you know, we live in a capitalist economy, and that's
what you
one
need
of
to
the
think about. Yeah.
fundamentals of business.
It's amazing that you're talking about that as a designer, because sometimes design teams don't think about that as a business.
They don't, but then also, is that sustainable as a designer? So, you know, it's about thinking holistically about everything, and I see it as a huge privilege that I get to think about all these different things in my life and in my business, and not just the clothes. I think maybe I'd be a bit bored if I only drew and designed clothes. I think I get the opportunity to think about so many interesting things, and you know, people sometimes say to me, oh my God, it must be such a challenge to work sustainably. And I'm like, no, actually, it's so interesting.
So you've got some really exciting collaborations coming up here in New York City. Can you share a little bit
Yes.
about what's happening with the future?
Yeah, so the reason I'm here actually for 2020, I'm really excited to be working with Elite, with via Elite, which is their talent board, and they're super interested to get sustainability into what they're doing and to educate people around issues regarding that, both in-house and externally.
That's very smart. That's very smart.
It's so smart, and I'm so excited to be doing it. And again, adds another thing to what I'm doing, which is not just about the clothes, and that's, you know, super interesting for me.
Really, I mean, as a designer, you're innovating. You're not just designing clothes, but working with companies to do recycling and revaluing,
Of course.
and a mega global agency like Elite to show them what they can potentially do with their reach as well. So it's
Yeah.
very, very smart.
And you know, for me, education is about being creative. It's not about just being a designer, but we need to give people the agency to be educated at all points of their life, in any business, at any stage. So, you know, being able to go into businesses like this with the backing of someone like Elite is really incredible, because that's, you know, a main part of my aim in life is to give back through education, because I gained so much through it myself. And I just think it's great to be not only working in schools, but to be working in business too.
Patrick, what is your vision? It's a big question, but what's your vision for a sustainable fashion future? Do you think it's possible?
I think it's completely possible. We just need to, you know, we need to stop putting sticking plasters on things, and we really need to go into systems and think, how can we change the systems that are in place now that aren't working? We all know it's not enough to just change the fabrics that you're using. We also need to rethink how the people are treated, and how the systems that are in place overproduce and overcreate. So if we can go into models that are like made to order, rental, reclaiming fabrics that are also made to order and rental, they're all ways to stop guessing what people want and start making what people actually want and love and need and have paid for already. So you're only making what you actually know people are going to buy.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you've solved the overproduction problem.
So we were just at the United Nations together to
Yes.
celebrate the launch of the Conscious Fashion Campaign collaboration with Messe Frankfurt, which is a big business thing. And what they were doing, just to refresh the audience, is about pairing SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, to big business. So I'm
Yeah.
going to ask you, do you have an SDG or a focus with yours, your business and your collections?
So for me, obviously all the SDGs are really important, but my main focus is number 4, which is education. I really truly believe that through education and through educating creatively, we can solve all of the issues that we have in the world and give people the tools to make the changes themselves, rather than kind of pushing them onto people. So, you know, I'll always champion education.
All right, well, I'm going to sign up and take your classes for sure.
Please do.
Patrick, it has been such a pleasure having you here in New York City
Thank
at
you for
Nasdaq,
having
and I
me.
can't wait to see you blossom into an incredible, sustainable fashion future.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us here at Nasdaq, and follow Patrick. Bye.